One in there.
Oh, okay. Being 2:00, we'll call the meeting to order. Now we have roll call.
You. Wow.
Steve Borndall,
Here.
John Bonifay,
Here.
Doug Rowdy,
Here.
Jay Lou,
Here.
Jeremy Hall. The 5 members are present.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. I so moved to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion made to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes for July 2nd, 24.
I move to approve the minutes of July 2nd, 2024. As presented.
Second. Here's second.
Second.
Okay. Motion made and second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment? Any public comment?
It's a quiet day
I thought we were supposed to have some, but
so far.
apparently that fell through.
Yeah.
Okay. Receipt of information from supervisors not seated as committee members. None of that. Fair Society, I don't see one representatives from the fair here. Is there any update that we have for the fair or?
I do. The grandstands, we've been working with Cedar Core on the prints and the preliminary pricing. So we have that. I did speak with a gentleman from Dan Clayton Corporation, and he's gonna get me some pricing, some rough pricing for bleacher / grandstand, and then the difference between the two. Obviously, the bleachers wouldn't have the canopy covering over it as the grandstand would. So he's working on some of that just so we can kind of compare what we currently have to what they offer. And then the facilities guys, we went down to the fair, to the fairgrounds prior to the fair this year and fixed a bunch of ball valves and backflow preventers and then some other miscellaneous maintenance items. And we'll be going back here in the next couple weeks to fix a 2-inch ball valve, and then the south restroom, the urinals, they have run 24/7.
Set during the fair.
So we'll be adding timers in on those so that it'll just run whatever we determine, 5 minutes every hour, or whatever the case is, cut down on water consumption. So the rest of my update from Public Works, Clam Falls Dam work continues. The gate actuators are being ordered and they have a 5 to 6 month lead time, which puts us back into February or March for a completion. The Lunda is talking about the possibility of opening the bridge at least one lane for this winter and just putting a stop sign at each end of the bridge. I was talking with Josh about that, and I have to find out from Lunda and from Ayers if we're not gonna have any activity there for 4 or 5 months, what's gonna be on that other lane? Why can't we remove that and open it up? It'll help them out for plowing and everything else, so that information is forthcoming. The ATV intensive use area, the fencing is being completed, signs are ordered. And we're hoping to possibly get that opened up here in the next month or two, depending on when the signage comes in. The parking lot is in, the obstacles are in. Stout Construction was there today or yesterday.
Today, wrapping up.
Yeah, to do a little tidying up on their end. Other than that, that's getting closer to being put in use. Recycling, we're waiting for the state-approved new prints. There was a portion of the wall between the new addition and the existing building that was to be removed, so they had to go back to the state for approval on the new prints, and that should be here either the 13th or 14th of April. So then we can commence on getting back into the groove on that. So that's about it for.
Is that what's holding up the construction, that engineering? And that's gonna be done in April?
No, that was Clam Falls. That was February or March for Clam Falls. The
No,
recycling is gonna be, that's slated to be done by the end of the year.
yeah, you said April, I wondered,
You threw me too when you said April.
Okay. Oh, I meant, sorry, I meant August.
Oh.
I said
okay.
April, but I meant,
Wow.
yeah, I meant August 13th or 14th, sorry.
I talked
That's
to
my bad.
Berghammer and he was wondering, yeah,
So that's when the prints are supposed to be back so that they can resume all the construction down there.
Not a lot going on down there right now.
nothing.
No, there could be, but they're kind of waiting to get all the subs back on once the prints are back, so.
He's waiting to throw the people back in there and get going with the whole thing.
Yeah, it looks quiet.
He's a little anxious, wants to get it done, I'm sure.
Let's see, a couple comments on the fair. John, I and Russ Arcan attended the, welcome at the fair. I seen the email come through. Are you saying that they didn't have backflow fermenters or vacuum brakes on all the hoses? Cause you replaced like 30 some of them
Correct.
and you got a bunch more to go?
We ordered a bunch of other ones for replacing.
Okay.
So yes, before a couple weeks before the fair, we replaced some 1-inch ball valves. We added some shutoffs to areas they didn't have them. And replaced 30 or 40 other ball valves.
Okay. And they were all like, had been frozen or?
Yeah, or dripping.
Okay. So that probably falls back on the methodology or the method to drain back the fairgrounds is gonna have to be looked at. Make sure that we don't have to go through that so much. Huh?
Yeah, the 2-inch that we have to replace yet, that was frozen last year. That's in the 4-H building. So if you have it all the way open or all the way closed, it wouldn't leak. But as you're turning it,
Okay.
Shower.
yeah.
Then I had a citizen approach me and I didn't know the answer to the question. When it comes to the ATV recreational park there, is there some kind of a sign or release of liability? The citizen was concerned that if somebody gets hurt, they could go back on design on how we designed that and maybe end up with some liability. Are we covered liability wise when we?
Because we are a public entity and this is basically like a county park, we would be in significant part protected by recreational immunity. So, but having signage up is always a good idea, at your own risk, kind of.
We can't be held liable. We got that cherry picker statute that you're
Right.
talking about.
Right.
Statutorily,
It would be highly unlikely that the county would end up with any financial liability. Now, I'm not speaking at all for, the firm, some second entity that designs it and if we're just implementing it. But if we're designing it and we're opening it up for recreation, which is naturally a dangerous thing to do, recreation, we would be covered by recreational immunity.
That's some kind of a state statute.
It's federal, but yes.
Okay.
called a cherry picker statute.
Signage is sure good though, I would think.
Always helps.
All right. Well, that's the answer I'll give them then. Anybody else got anything?
Did we have anything on total attendance this year? Any?
I never heard from the fair. What?
Yeah.
I have not either.
The only thing I know is the Friday night, Steve, when we were talking, one of the gals told me that last year on a Thursday and Friday, last year for the total fair, they sold 700 and some season passes. And in 2 days, Thursday and Friday night, they had already sold 800 and some.
Better track.
I met, are you still on the fair, Steve?
Yeah, fair or public works.
Well, I think now would be the time to bring this up. I got a call from Brandon DeRozier. He's been on the fair board as long as I can remember. And I remember when, there's always that preliminary work. Brandon works for the Minnesota DOT. And he also works on the construction. He has semis and loaders and backhoes and everything. And a week before the fair, Friday, he resigned. He said that we didn't get into the specifics. I didn't think it was right to do it alone. But he's had disagreements with our president of the fair for years. And some things came up and he said that he just couldn't agree with the direction of some of the things that the president was demanding, and he resigned from the fair board. And that's certainly tragic. It's financially going to hurt us. He never billed a fair for anything. He and Dale Wood, I know they donated trucking and machinery and everything. I want to give appreciation for his many years on the fair. It's an unfortunate situation. You never replace somebody like that.
Okay, anything else? Moving on to update from highway then.
Can we go back to the issue of immunity? I just wanted to put one clarifying note in my comment. If there were to ever be a clear and absolutely knowable present danger, I'm thinking something like a sinkhole in the middle of the track, and we didn't do anything to ameliorate it. There are certain things that could impact recreational immunity, but in general, we're generally protected. But doesn't mean we can't just leave it and not look at it and be concerned that if there's some clear and obvious danger. Sorry.
Something that's deemed absolute negligence.
Absolutely. Right, or gross negligence, just absolutely, how could you?
Well, that's never protected.
Right.
So a tree falls down on the ATV to UTV trail. We haven't been notified that the tree is down.
Tree's down, somebody's gonna drive, I would presume, and see that the tree is down. Now, if the tree were down right on the other side of some obstacle that would block the location of the tree, and we had knowledge of it. So what we have to do is, make sure we've got somebody checking on it with some regularity, that kind of thing. I don't know what the tree coverage is over there. I don't think it's very significant. It is?
The trail, yeah, there's trees. This citizen brought it to me this way too. What if I'm going along the trail and tree fell down, I didn't see it, and I get a stick driven through my neck or something, or.
We're always gonna likely be sued for something, but the likelihood of us being ultimately found liable is relatively low with recreational immunity.
Okay. All right.
To give the example of like a sidewalk, if a sidewalk had, because of, weather and everything kind of buckles, and somebody's riding their bike and hits that and tumbles, that's generally going to be covered by immunity. But if there were a pothole removed from the sidewalk and left a hole, and we didn't do anything to let people know, hey, there's a big hole here, we wouldn't be protected.
Right. Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, oh yeah, Malia said there's no way anybody.
No. I was gonna say it like you said it.
And then she leaves.
That should be understood, that absolute gross negligence.
Okay, now on to the highway update.
Things at Highway seem to be progressing well. Getting some of our projects taken care of. We've still got, August 19th upcoming for County Road V, the overlay from D to 158th. Week of September 9th, we'll be milling on County Road F between 65 and Duranda. And the week of September 16th, we'll be paving that. State Highway 35 from County Road W through Frederick will still have wedge patching done. We're working on getting that scheduled with Monarch now that the funding's been approved and we signed our contract with them. The state approved just shy of $100,000 for wedge patching on 35 there. Plus, it looks like we're gonna come in under budget on the DMA we did on 35 from 180th south to Highway 8, that scrub seal we just completed. Looks like we'll have some additional funding and we talked with the regional maintenance coordinator up there and it sounds like they're gonna allow us to roll any leftover funds from that one to add to our blacktop quantities in the Frederick patch job, which will help because the 100,000 is a little short on material to do a nice job up there, but we'll do what we can with what they're giving us. First round of mowing is officially complete. Last time we met, I misspoke and said it was done and we had a little bit of mowing left to do. But we could easily start again mowing the way the grass is growing. We're gonna have to do some additional mowing this year just to keep up with vision concerns and stuff like that. Crews have been crack sealing and fiber filling. We've completed County Road Double C, County Road Double P, or County Road P down by the county line, and they're currently on County Road I up by Clam Falls doing some fiber fill overbanding. It's turning out really nice. It's improving the ride. We're sprinkling some aggregate on it to help with traction so the patches don't seem as slippery, but they're doing a nice job with it. It's actually if you drive both lanes where they've overbanded that with the fiber fill and where they haven't treated it yet, it's pretty impressive how well it's improving the ride on those roads. So we're gonna keep going with that. And then we ordered our new CRS2 emulsion storage tank for our spray patch oil. There's some delays with the tank manufacturer. We probably won't see the tank arrive till the first quarter of 25. And then they'll start installing that once the tank arrives on site. So, and that will be located in building 2 now, in the heated building that we heat the rest of the year. And it's gonna have a more efficient heating for the storage tank instead of electric elements in there heating that oil. We'll be going to a circulating hot water heat for that oil. So we'll have a water boiler and circulation pumps that will maintain the temperature in there. And it's the same setup St. Croix County has, and it seems to be easier on the oil. The emulsion itself seems to hold up better in storage with that setup. So we're hoping that works well for us. And then I did pass out the financial report for Highway. For that monthly report we want to hand out at the meetings. And I apologize, it's not a summary. It's year to date from January through July, so it's a little lengthy. Next month we'll get that straightened out and have just a summary for month to month for that. So that's all I currently have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Josh?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment, Mr.
Go
Chairman.
ahead, John.
I think what you did from on Highway 35 north of Highway 8 is just spectacular. It seems to have the right mix of oil and everything. It's certainly given that many more years of life. Is there any possible way that anything can be done from Osceola to the county line? Especially the semi-traffic that comes across from Minnesota and goes south and coming up north and goes. It's certainly something that the DOT doesn't realize, and you can sit at Farmington or just about any one of the crossroads there. You can't hardly get on Highway 35. It's just 10, 12 hours a day.
There's a lot of traffic down there. I have, since our last meeting and we talked, I have,
Yeah.
talked with our maintenance coordinator, our local one, as well as the regional maintenance coordinator, and as of right now, they don't have any ideas or a plan down there. Currently, that's in the 2030 schedule
Yes.
for pavement, and it's not advanceable at this time.
The chunks are
far
coming
as-
up, the chunks are coming up, and if it was done within the next 24 months or so, we could save that road till 2030.
And with their blessing, well, we can focus some of our patching effort down there under our routine maintenance agreement with them. Patching, but that's temporary.
That's a bad.
Right now, they don't have any idea on a more in-depth maintenance treatment for that section in the conversations I've had with them. So, but I can keep leaning on them about that, but it's,
I'm just
comes down to
representing the
funding.
people down there, and we're even willing to get a petition or something that to send in if that would do any good. That's why I brought it up to you first.
yeah, I mean, sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if we can keep letting them know that there's a need down there, they might do something with it. But as of right now, today, they don't have a,
Do we have any counters or even with the counters, I mean, it's all semis there, you know, they're utilizing, you know, trap rock and then the couple quarries around Osceola there
and they update their traffic counters quite. Do you know what the schedule is, Mo, on that for the traffic counters?
No, I don't. I have to look online to see where, when the last time that was done.
I've never seen one.
Yeah. They do.
They're
do-
posted online.
I can get that info for you when the last one was done. That does have a fairly high
Yeah,
traffic count down there.
well, that's their beat.
And they update those I think every few years, but I'll check online on that community maps website. That information's available. We can look it up. See.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the highway commissioner? Hearing none, we'll move on to the sheriff.
At the fair, we rolled out the command post, got back from Custom Fire, got the decals on it. It's about 75% complete. We're waiting for Baycom to get a radio system in there, upgrade, like change radio systems, get that installed, and a security camera. The other things are just about done on that. We did apply for a third PSAP grant, which will help us outfit the command post as a backup dispatch center. So we held off on purchasing that equipment, knowing that this grant was coming up. So we're hoping this grant covers, I think we put in for 200,000 or something similar to that. Matches about 20 grand, 10% on that. So so we're hoping to get that completed by the end of the year. The dispatch construction project, Neo Electric is waiting for one little part for one of the lights, and then they'll be finished with that. Everything else is complete for the furniture and the construction aspect of it. The equipment upgrade for the next gen 911, we're still back ordered on Motorola. It's got severe back orders. So we're hoping to receive some of that equipment now in September, get it hooked up and get everything for the next gen 911 system going. Again, that PSAP grant that we're putting in and the other little
Unknown caller.
dispatch center, that'll be coming out of that third PSAP grant. With dispatch and the radios, we had something really unique happen. Haven't seen it in 20 years, but we had a lightning strike on one of our antennas that exploded one of our antennas. We had to get an emergency tower crew out there. Luckily, back in 2019, Jill Stoffel purchased some spare antennas from Pierce County. Pierce County ordered the wrong antennas for their radio system, but they were the right ones for us. So we picked them up at, I think, half the cost back then. Now would have been about 4 times the amount for those antennas. So we're easily able to replace that antenna. I think it cost us under $1,000 for a tower crew to come in on an emergency call to did quick do that, so. Tonight is our National Night Out event here at the Justice Center from 5 till 7. We'll be grilling hot dogs. It's a community event where it basically introduces, kids and families to public safety. There'll be Polk, our fire, EMS, and Lifelink is landing a helicopter there today too, so. That is tonight. And I think that's about all I have, other than the fair seemed to be a little bit busier this year. I think we have more JA tickets than we had, underage drinking tickets than we had in prior years. Other than that, wasn't too bad, so.
I know you weren't here, but, I wondered if they tested that emergency, weather broadcast thing and coordinated with the sheriff at all on that.
That I don't know, yeah.
I know it's up and I know they tested it, but I didn't know if it was any coordination with the sheriff.
Thursday morning when I went there to set up the command post that they were working on, it seemed to be functioning then.
Yeah, they said it reached the entire grounds. So that part is good, I guess. Any questions for the sheriff?
I hope we have a good turnout for that, night out. I've been to that for as long as I can remember, and
One of the better weather days we've had for it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
usually been really hot and humid and today is perfect, so.
especially to bring some kids and everything. I think they give away bicycles and
Yeah, Walmart gave us 4 bicycles this year, so yeah, 4 bikes to give away.
Okay, thank you. Administrator update.
Yes, Mr. Chair, as Claire's loading up the slides, the ADT count on 35 just north of County Road X, that was done October of 2022. It's 5,900 cars, which is an increase of 4 years of 900 cars. And then north of or south of X, it's 6,300 cars. Done in August of 2022. The one before that was 5,800 done in 2018. So another increase of 500 cars. So right now it's about 6,000 cars a day.
interesting. What was that figure again, chief?
5,900,
About 6,000 a day.
about 6,000. 6,300 south X, 5,900 north.
Vehicles, cars, trucks, everything.
Everything.
Trains.
Trains.
ATVs.
Motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, yeah.
All right, I'll give you a short presentation. I'll give to all the committees and the county board, the state of the county. Just a little bit of background on there. The administrator's 2023 October budget was balanced. The board then okayed 20 projects for CIPs, passing a budget with a deficit of $2.9 million. Our audit is in right now. Our 2023 audit showed we came in with a deficit of 2.1 million. So we saved 800,000 on that. As a reference, the 2024 budget was passed with a deficit of $1.9 million. So we'll be looking at those as we come to 2024 and trying to hit our marks on those. The general fund balance, available cash for us of what we have right now, 29 million is our general fund balance from the audit of 2023. Of that, 4.6 million is previously committed to other projects. What's available is 7.8. And some of those other projects, we'll get into it a couple other meetings. We still have outstanding projects in public works, such as the DD Kennedy and the Atlas Dam repairs. Those are waiting for DNR plan review and have been waiting for plan review for several years now. And our word is that hopefully they'll get to those by the end of the year. So that money was allocated for those things. But again, those construction costs, once we go to bid, are going to be higher than that. So, what? Your board priorities. Board priorities, we always have these in mind as we're going through budget process: increasing public safety, reduction of substance abuse, expanding broadband access, investment in parks, tourism, recreation, supporting housing initiatives, and improving their infrastructure. Next slide. In public safety, some of our recent actions that we've done, we upgraded the dispatch 911 centers, upgraded tasers and radios, additional communications officer was added. We upgraded security present at the Justice Center and the Justice Center and the Government Center here. We have our lost mine here. Our jailers out there now with a better presence here than we had before walking around out there. Coming up under consideration for this budget is additional patrol positions. We're looking at 3. Part of that will be covered by a grant for the first 3 years, half of that cost, and then replacement of squads is coming up on those, what we look forward to. Substance abuse, we're near 4 of 5 of the drug-free community grant, year 3 of the TAD grant for diversion programs. We've conducted Narcan training. Alcohol compliance checks are ongoing along with tobacco checks. It's been a good program out there and that continues to move on. And support for our pro-sober programming like the Onyx House. Under consideration on deck is Family Recovery Court, similar to CJCC. It's another program that we've been looking at and looking at other counties and how they're doing their programs. Broadband. The recent actions on this one, we've had significant investments in locals laying our fiber. The county board set aside $1 million to expand coverage. Of that, $200,000 is for the town of Beaver, which is encumbered, which leaves $800,000. At the federal level, there's still $1.1 billion to be distributed in Wisconsin for broadband. Now here comes the part where I'm going to be asking certain things of you guys. Under consideration or on deck is support in areas such as Osceola, not eligible for grants to run fiber from rural road to the house, that last connection. That's a hard program to get our hands around because some driveways are really short, some are very long. And how do you distribute these funds equitably among everyone? So it's fair amongst all users. Or at this point, do we declare victory, on that? Right now we have 93% coverage in Polk County. Next slide. You see that we have 93% coverage in Polk County of high speed in our ditches. Not everyone's hooked up. We can't force them to hook it up. But we are definitely winning the game in the state of Wisconsin. We're one of the leaders in broadband. So with that $800,000 and not knowing how to spend that at this time or reallocating that, is it possible the board would have the appetite to change that to help fund something such as a grandstand or a capital project for highway or facilities or something like that? So keep that in mind as we're going through the budget process, because this is just another lever as funding gets tight with those. Next slide, Parks and Recreation. We have the D.D. Kennedy upgrades. You got the new bathrooms in down there. It looks really nice with sidewalks and paving. The Sterling Park ATV intensive use park. Summers Lake has done a lot of work. Clam Falls. The bathroom at the trailhead down by the visitor center in St. Croix Falls. It's been complete open now. On deck now are new docks at Lake Magner. And again, we have the grandstand project that's still out there. One of the things we have to look at also is a lot of these projects we came through was part of PTAG funding. PTAG funding had so much set aside for these projects as the ATV intensive parks, the bathrooms. The remaining portion of that money is set aside by resolution for only trail enhancements and improvements. So we can't use that money right now for our parks. If we want to do a capital project for a park or improve our parks, right now that's encumbered for only improvements to trails. So that might be a board consideration to look at opening that up for parks and trails so that we can utilize some of that funding for capital projects to improve our parks, our current parks. As of July 11th, there's $695,718.35 in that fund. So there's that much money sitting there just waiting to be used out there. So it would be a good idea, to look at that as one of the potential things to change that to be able to use for parks and trails, not just trail and improvement. Because the majority of our trails we have in our county, naturally are state trails. We'd want to use this just for our county facilities. Next slide. New priority in 2023 was housing. Housing, they set aside $200,000 for projects for housing, and we had our first application successful was Amory for $70,000. 7 units at 10,000. They're townhomes. Corporate counsel, before she leaves, is drafting that contract with the city of Amory. So we're all on the same page on when that gets paid back to the county on there. So that is a success story for one of our priorities. Infrastructure was another one. County roads, and actually County B is on there. That was moved from 2024 to 2025. And there's a lot more in the queue. There's STP programs right now. The state is lacking funding of, and we're looking at moving a couple of our projects out a little further. So we'll see that coming up. As far as buildings and services, Northwoods and the college is going well. The HVAC upgrade on that one, the recycling center project, you heard an update from Todd on that one. And then we have very little outstanding on our facilities. The next big one coming down the pike on facilities would be the HVAC for the Justice Center. That building now has reached 20 years old, 22 years old. So those infrastructure things need to be replaced. And that's the last really big one. That's about a $1.6 million. We'll be looking at in either 25 or 26 for bonding. Financial position of the county is strong. According to our auditor, everything looks good that we're doing. We're meeting our challenge, increasing tight revenues, keeping abreast of our board priorities. Our workforce stable despite pressures. And what are those pressures? Well, we got private entities that are trying to recruit our talent away. You know, when you have good people and good employees, we have to retain them, and they are in sought in demand. So, and again, discipline is the key. We need to use all our tools to achieve our priorities, keep the levy flat and stable. And that's a combination of bonding, offsetting levy for capital projects, the broadband money's out there, sales tax and our investment funds. We're doing well in our investments. And the goal is to have a balanced budget using all our tools and keeping our money in our funds right now. A couple other things we got going on. Just on my notes. Our IT security assessment has been completed. So IT department is looking at the results of that and how we can secure our data. We're updating our rec plan currently, which is a 5-year requirement. Our employee picnic right now is set for October 8th. That'll be at the highway department. You're all welcome to show up, or October 9th down at Golden Age Manor. With that, new net construction numbers have been released, preliminary numbers right now. We had an increase of 1.34%, around $106,000. Equalized value is up right now 9% as preliminary number. Those numbers haven't been solidified yet, so we're working on those. I did meet with Brad Beerson from tourism, how they're using our funding, and they did receive a grant that a study was done by the University of La Crosse looking at how to bring people to Polk County and what target audience do they go after with this information. And the 2 target audiences that the study showed was ages 30 to 35 with kids and 25 to 35 without kids are the ones to come to the county and would spend more money on tourism with us. So they're working on ad campaigns for that on social media and triggers to go after that. And that's all I have right now for our update. Yes, Doug?
Can I back up to broadband?
Yes.
Because at least in my district, Lakeland quit putting in or doing the homes when they were going by. And I talked to John Klatt at Lakeland, and he said, well, there's some projects that you just can't keep on doing and absorb in the cost of everything. Because they had one retreat that called me, and that's up toward Frederick. And it was gonna be like $30,000 for them to pay to have it put in because of the distance from starting point and up this quarter-mile driveway. And then the locals, which I guess I shouldn't call them locals, but to do a house along the road, you know, where you have a home just right on the road, was averaging around $1,800. And then up to some of the longer ones, one person I talked to was $7,000 that you'd have to pay to get it.
And you know, when they originally did it, my driveway's an eighth of a mile long and they brought it right to the home for nothing. So it was like, take the easement and let them put it in. Because I know some that didn't take the easement and now they're paying $1,800. So I mean, it goes both ways. If you turn them down the first time and then you look back and say, oh, my wife does want that. Well, you've made a mistake and it costs you $1,800 or up to $7,000. So I can see where, like you said, in the Osceola area, they're really looking into that aspect of it.
My provider provided, they got a grant themselves. So they covered, it was $300 for myself to hook up to high-speed internet. And my driveway's not that long though. But that's part of the equity on how do you, if we wanted to go down that, how do you equitably distribute that cash so that it's equal amongst everyone and not rewarding someone that has a 4-mile long driveway that he gets $50,000 and this guy gets $500. And then you can't force anyone to hook up to it.
Yeah, I know. I was right there the day that the guy, Lakeland came and all they wanted was an easement to put it in. And he said, no, I won't give you an easement. Might want to build a garage there. And his wife retired and they need high speed and paid $1,800. And I talked to the fellow that represented Lakeland and he said, well, all they would have had to do was move the wire after it was there and put it in the garage and they'd fix it. So, I mean, it wasn't a good decision. But you know, it's easy to look back.
Yeah, they did mine actually the opposite. They ran it from my house to the road one year, and the next year they actually ran the cable down the road. So,
Oh,
cable sticking out of my house for a year with nothing. But
Anybody else?
Dr. Bose, when do you have the September sales tax figure?
sales tax, September, I won't have that till October. July was down 1.7%. About $46,438.
Oh, I meant July, I'm sorry.
Mo, it would seem the county board should come up with some kind of a calculation for people that need that service run from the main to their house. Whether it be a cap of so much or half, or, you know, I think that would be what we should develop as a policy, because there's a lot of people out there
Unknown caller.
having the same problem, you know, but I don't know what would be fair. I guess we'd have to. I imagine that cost, like any other cost, just keeps going up every year, so.
It's going up every year depending on many conditions. Then the question becomes, how do we want to distribute that? Do we want the towns to handle that as we push that out, versus us being the sole distributing to every landowner that wants to be part of the grant program? So there's a lot of moving parts to that one.
Yeah, I mean, I know a family that has to take their kids to the business so they can do their homework. Instead of them doing their homework at home, they gotta run them so they can do their homework. So it's a problem. Should be looking at somehow. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thanks, Mo.
Thank you.
Mr. Rowdy, you are up.
yes, today, I guess I call it a good basic discussion because, well, they got into the bathrooms in Amory that's at the end of the Cattail Trail. And the full decision finally was to probably just remove them because the city has put in bathrooms close enough that they can justify just getting rid of the cost of having this one there. Because they have, what'd you say, a lot of vandalism. It's hard to take care of it. So then they talk about signs. They always have signs to repair. They'll get either you go down or they need new ones. And then Rod brought this up, but a couple weeks ago, I drove out to the intensive use area. And if you haven't gone out there, you really should take time because we talked about originally there's discussion on what to do with the parking lot, if there would be one, wouldn't be one, and now they put one in, and it's just fantastic. It's probably the size of at least the one out here in front of the building. And then I couldn't drive the trail because they were working on it and they had it blocked off. And Rod said I couldn't anyway, but I said, well, I would have contacted him first. But as you'd even drive along in the parking lot and look through the trees in the woods, you can see what a wonderful trail or park it's going to be. And then Tony said it's done today or yesterday or pretty close to finished. So it's, oh, the fence isn't completely in. But you should drive out there. It'd be worth the trip to go out and look things over. So that's about it, I guess, for today.
Any questions for Doug? You just mean we're in that area. I have one question. Did anybody sign up and ever use that handicapped deer stand? Nobody signed up for it. So it just kind of sits there. Is there a better way to advertise that so we could get some use out of it, you think, with the fall season coming back in?
Paper again, that it's available.
I would think somebody would take advantage.
Might be ready for it myself.
All right, thanks, Doug.
At least we're candidates.
CJCC update.
In July, we had 3 in substance diversion and 2 new referrals that we're just waiting on. If those people will go through with the program. We had 10 in treatment court. Last Friday, we actually just had 2 graduate, and thank you to Chair Warrendahl for attending that. It was appreciated. We also have 3 referrals right now. We will have 2 more that are set to graduate in September and 1 more that's set to graduate in October. First time offender, we just recently revamped that program where it's an in-person class and then they also do a jail tour. And we had 7 go through that program in July. And then just in the CJCC in general, we're having some changes to our exec committee. Malia was the chairperson for that committee. And now with her leaving, we also had Dave Williams, who was with a victim witness coordinator, and he has also left. So we're looking at some changes to our exec committee going forwards. And then I am also working solo right now. So we are hiring for a case manager. And then my other case manager just had her baby this morning, so she'll be out for a couple months. So it'll be a little crazy over in my section of the building.
Cody McGee.
You got any questions or comments? So that September graduation is September 6th, right?
Yes, it's the first, I'm just pulling it.
Yeah, that's what I got on my calendar here.
Yep, first Friday of the month.
9 a.m. For the court portion and 10 a.m. for the,
You say there's 2, is that right?
there's 2 this time, yeah.
Yeah,
In
so
September.
there's 2. I always wait probably like a week and a half beforehand to email out the invites. Just because so far we've run into stuff not where people are like having criminal behaviors or failing UAs, but we've had people miss a UA as they get closer to graduation. And so then we have to count that as a positive. So, yeah, that's why I don't send out those invites too far in advance, just because we never know. But with 2 of them supposed to graduate, I would say most likely either way we'll have a graduation.
Thank you. And now we have review and recommendation of fee schedule. Didn't we do that last time?
Just the meeting to see if you have any comments on there, and Don will go over just any changes. If you have if anything you want to add differently before going to the Gen Gov or the final.
Right, so as Mo mentioned, general government on the 14th will be looking over the full packet of fees. Yeah, I made a mistake there. Let's see, you get one with, yeah. Yeah, we got some extra pages here. Have to be a little smarter about that next time. That's on me. You're just looking at changes that are from departments to report up to public safety, public works. So as you can see, there were a few changes, I think 7 in total, modest in terms of dollar amount. And all we're looking for today is a recommendation from the committee. We don't need you to vote on anything, but just recommend passing on these departmental fees to the general government committee. So that is the request. And of course, any of the department heads that have something that they'd like to address with respect to the fees for their department would be a good time to do so. But not a lot of changes here. Oh, you can go to the next slide, Claire. Sorry. Yeah. So sheriff's fees are on the top. Next one down, please. More down. Clear cards. And last second.
Nice set. Added to the mattress dumping, $30. Saves the township, it adds the townships a little extra. They dump them in on the roads. Out in the woods and the townships have to pay for it, you know.
Just, so I live on what was called Dump Road. Now it's called Boone Road. They upgraded the name. But where the old dump was, people still drop TVs and tires.
For sure.
Yeah, making our road beautiful.
Yeah,
So council, are we looking for someone to, do we have to have a formal recommendation on this? How does that work?
I think you could take a vote.
Okay.
Motion to recommend.
well, I make a motion that we recommend these fee agreements as presented with the changes as depicted for the different departments and stuff.
Motion made and second to accept the fee changes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You got it.
Thank you.
Review and update the 24 work plan.
It's like that's pretty well covered for us.
Yeah. I think we have anything. So we need to identify subject matters for the next meeting. Yeah, September 3rd.
Are we gonna get anything from the Fair Society or do we have to wait for them?
I would think we would have something next meeting from them.
All right,
Clerk. That's in addition, that we have some petitions for the addressing changes in what township?
Tom Boston.
On Balsam Lake. So they will be coming forward next meeting. Anything else for next meeting from anybody? Malia, you got anything for the next meeting?
Good luck, Joe.
you could call in.
Hearing no more, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
$1,000 church wrap.